Hello there and welcome to a brand new lesson. This is Hub Beyond Numbers where we learn maths the easy way. In this lesson, we are looking at the question 3A of BECE 2026. It is on percentage increase. And it's a wage problem. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to calculate a new value after percentage increase. You should be able to multiply a daily wage by a number of days to find the total earning. And finally, you should be able to solve a multi-step real-life problem involving percentages. On our left-hand side, we have solutions to the trial exercises I gave on BEC question 2B. Without much ado, let's quickly look into it. So for question 3A, it says, Asana was engaged to collect cashew fruits on a farm. She was paid a wage of 25 cedis a day. If the daily wage increased by 10% and she worked for 30 days, how much will she be paid? Now, this is a question that involves percentage increase. And before we look at it, let's quickly understand this concept here. If we understand the concept and then answer the question, anyhow the question will be reframed, I'm sure we'll be able to find a way to do it. So in talk of percentage increase, you have an original value, right? And you want to increase it. Now we want to increase it by a particular percentage. You see, so if we are given that percentage and we want the new value, then we say the new value after the increase is the original value times 1 plus the rate at which you are increasing it. So for instance, if you are increasing a value by 10%, then the new value is simply the original times 1 plus the rate. So this is the 1, which is the one whole number here, then plus the rate, which then becomes 1.10. You see, that is the first formula we need to know so that we can work this out. Then we have another one, which is the total wage. So if you are talking of the total wage, it simply means by the end of the month. So if it is a 28-day month period or a 31 or a 30, then all we need to know is the daily wage. If you know your daily wage, you multiply it by the number of days and you'll be able to calculate the total pay by the end of the month. Now, with that aside, there are two ways we can solve for the percentage increase apart from this one. First, all you need to do is to look for the increase we are talking about. That is the new value. So with that, since it is a percentage of the old value, you just multiply whatever it is by the old value, and that gives you your increase. The method 2 says multiply the rate by the old value, and then the new value is equal to the old plus the increase. Taking this literally here, I'm sure it might not be too clear, but let's go to the question and see how we can apply them and then enhance our understanding as well. So back to the question. So the first thing we should do is to write our parameters down. The wage structure was 25 cedis a day, you see. But now there's going to be an increase of 10%. So the first thing we need to do is to find the increase in the daily wage, you see. So for the increase in the daily wage, which we have denoted as new over here, is simply the old wage times the multiplier. Okay, so we are going to write increase, the monetary increase, which would be equal to 10% of, so times the initial amount, which is 25, and that is simply a 10 over 100 and then times 25. Simplifying, what do we have? We have 20 dividing itself once and then into 100 4 times, giving us 10 over 4. So 10 over 4 in decimal we are going to write that as 2.5. So that is equal to 2.5. That is if you do your long division. If you want me to do that, this is the long division over here. So we have 4 outside, and 4 into 1, 0. 4 times 0, we have our 4. Then if you subtract, we bring our 1 down, and then the 0 also comes down. So 4 into 10, we have a 2. 4 times 2 gives us an 8. Subtracting, we have a remainder of 2. And we are allowed to introduce a decimal point, which then adds a 0 here. 4 into 20, we have a 5. And 4 times 5 then gives us a 20 with no remainder. That is how come we are getting the 2.5 here. It simply means the new wage, all right, the new wage is then going to be what? The old wage, which is 25, plus 2.5. So let's write that down. New wage is the 25 plus 2.5, which then gives us a 27.5 cedis. So this is to tell us that after every day, the new wage is going to be what? 27.5 cedis. In addition to that, she's working for 30 good days. You see, 30 days. So we need to calculate the total pay for the 30-day period. So let's go. So for the total pay for the 30-day period, it is then going to be what? The pay for each day, which is 27.5 times the 30. Now, mind you, over here, we are testing your ability to multiply decimals by whole numbers. So you need to show working. If you want to multiply decimal by whole numbers, multiply as if there was no decimal. So that is to say, let's evaluate 275 then times a 30. We have 0 times 5, which gives us a 0. So 0 times 7, we have a 0. 0 times 2, we have a 0. Then 3 times 7 gives us a 15. So we write out 5, carry 1. 3 times 5, 3 times 7. This time around, 3 times 7 gives us a 21. 21 plus 1, we have a 22. Then we carry our 2 here. 3 times 2 gives us a 6. 6 plus 2, we have an 8. So we add what we have over here. So we have 0, 5, 2, and then 8. This is our final answer. But because there was a decimal, if you introduce that decimal here, it affects this as well. You see, because there was one decimal place. So in our final answer, we need to bring the decimal also toward one decimal place. So this becomes our final answer, and that is Asana's pay if she works for what? 30 days. So we can then conclude and say Asana will be paid 825 cedis by the end of the 30-day period. So this was question 3A, and I do hope you understood. As usual, I'll leave you with some exercises that are just related to this so that you try your hands on them to test your understanding. Also, the answers will be reviewed in the next lesson. So this is what we have here. There are 5 questions you can try your hands on. You can let me know if there's any issue of concern in the comment section. If this is your first time on this channel and think it will be of help to you, you can choose to subscribe if you so do wish, so that anytime I release a video, you'll be notified as well. See you in our next lesson where we look at question 3B. Question 3B is on perimeter and then area of plane figures. Bye for now and do stay safe.